Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a place where every liberty is just stripped away, where humiliation is daily, and yet somehow freedom can still be found. Today, we're diving into a story that challenges, well, pretty much everything we think we know about resilience and the human spirit.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. Our focus today is Victor Serge's really monumental work, Men in Prison.
Right.
And for this deep dive, we've pulled from some pretty compelling sources. We've got direct excerpts from the book itself, access to the Internet Archive, so you get Serge's raw voice. But we've also looked at a critical review from Foreword Reviews that gives us the kind of external lens, helps put it in context.
Okay, good. So both sides, the raw text and the critical view.
Exactly. It gives us the primary insights, but also helps us see its place, its impact in the literary world.
So our mission here, for you listening, is to explore what it really meant to be a political prisoner back then, early 20th century France. How could anyone possibly, maintain sanity, maintain purpose under such brutal conditions?
Almost unimaginable.
And maybe the biggest question, why does this book, this thinly veiled fictional autobiography, still feel so powerful, so relevant today? Serge himself kind of sets the stage, doesn't he, with that amazing epigraph.
Oh, yeah, that quote is absolutely central.
Everything in this book is fictional and everything is true. He says, I have attempted, through literary creation, to bring out the general meaning and human content of personal experience.
And that just throws you right in, doesn't it? Blurring that line between fact and fiction. It makes you question what truth even means in a story like this.
Definitely.
Because while technically it's tagged as a novel, everyone understands it's basically a chronicle of Serge's own 5 years. His time as a political prisoner in France, what was it, 1912 to 1917?
Yeah, right in that period.
And the Foreword Reviews piece nails it. They call it fiction so unfathomable that it must be truth.
Wow.
Yeah. And they highlight its startlingly human and unflinchingly honest nature. They even call it a powerful polemic, like a really strong argument against how prison dehumanizes people.
But also beautiful.
Yes, also a beautifully wrought literary gem. It's this incredible mix offering this unfiltered view of humanity back then.
Right.
It's that combination of raw truth and, well, masterful writing that just grabs you.
That unflinching honesty you mentioned, that brings us straight to, I think, one of the toughest themes.
Yeah.
The sheer psychological struggle just to survive.
Mm-hmm.
The sources call it a harrowing account of the struggle to remain sane under deplorable conditions. How did Serge actually do that? How did he make that psychological toll feel so real for us, the readers?
Well, he doesn't just tell you it's bad. He kind of immerses you in the feeling of it. He details the depraving brutality, and that wasn't just, physical beatings. It was constant.
Like a drip feed of degradation.
Exactly. 1,000 daily humiliations, as the review puts it, at the hands of those in charge. Right. Think about it being watched constantly, pointless rules, having everything personal taken away.
Yeah.
Even your thoughts aren't really private. These aren't just difficulties. They're deliberate tactics designed to break you down, erode who you are. The writing itself, as the review notes, is sometimes excruciatingly grim, filled with these searing revelations.
So it's showing his talent for really getting inside the head of someone incarcerated, their primal fears.
Absolutely. It's like he maps out that internal battle, which is maybe even fiercer than any physical struggle. You feel the walls closing in, the crushing monotony, the way hope just evaporates.
It sounds like a system perfectly designed to just crush your spirit.
That was the goal, yeah.
And yet, here's the twist. The sources talk about something almost, paradoxical, that many prisoners found a kind of solace.
A strange kind of peace.
Yeah, like inhabiting a dull space into which nothing could penetrate. And that leads to this unbelievable statement from Serge, I am free because nothing more can be done to me.
It stops you in your tracks, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, that's a radical idea of freedom. How do you get there? How do you reach that kind of liberation inside those walls?
Yeah. It's such a profound moment in the book. And it's not just giving up, not passive resignation. It feels more like an active internal shift.
Okay.
If you think about it, it suggests a complete psychological surrender. But not surrender to the jailers. It's surrender to the reality of the situation.
Letting go of everything else.
Yeah, letting go of wanting things to be different, letting go of hope for release tomorrow, maybe even letting go of the fear of what else they could possibly do. We have nothing left to lose, nothing left to fear.
Then they have no more power over your inner state.
Exactly. A weird, resilient kind of freedom emerges. It's the ultimate acceptance of powerlessness over the outside world, which paradoxically frees the mind from, the torture of false hope or fighting the inevitable. It's a total redefinition of liberty, not external, but internal, unassailable.
That idea of inner liberty, it's a huge psychological insight. And Serge, as you said, he keeps probing these deep existential questions. He really makes you confront that inner world.
Mm.
How does the book demonstrate that? That the mind keeps resisting even when the body and circumstances are just being crushed.
Well, there's actually a chapter titled The Mind Resists, which couldn't be clearer, right?
Perfect.
And Serge shows how, despite everything, the mind just instinctively fights to keep its own shape, often in tiny ways, like just observing things meticulously internally. Or the simple act of remembering.
Holding on to memories.
Yes, or refusing to let the grim reality define everything you are, even doing basic math in your head, just to keep the mind working. He talks about prisoners cultivating these inner landscapes, replaying memories, like you said, imagining things, having silent debates.
So the internal world becomes the real battleground.
Absolutely. That's where his skill in showing those primal fears becomes an exploration of defiance, a quiet, almost invisible rebellion that just preserves the self. It shows how the ability to think and feel on your own terms, that becomes the last refuge of freedom.
And then within all this darkness, this brutality, the sources point out these moments of, well, unexpected beauty. It's quite a contrast.
It really is.
Serge writes poetically about simple pleasures, things that just appear out of the blue. There's that stunning quote the review pulls out about the sky.
Oh, the sky quote, yes. It's incredible.
The sky. Above our heads, a glittering winter sky, full of constellations, spread out its deep blacks and blues, its profusion of stars, the ripples of light in its shadowy gulfs. And then he asks, had I ever understood the marvel of a simple starry sky before?
It gives you chills, doesn't it?
It does. What's the role of moments like that? Those sensory details. How do they help someone hang on to their humanity?
They're absolutely crucial. They're not just nice observations, they are anchors. Lifelines, really, for psychological survival. In a place designed to strip away everything human, a glimpse of stars.
Or anything from the outside world.
Right, a bit of nature through a crack, maybe the texture of bread, the rare sound of a bird. These become incredibly precious. They remind you there's a whole other reality beyond the prison walls, a world with beauty, with wonder that still exists.
So it's like a momentary escape.
Yeah.
Transcendence.
Exactly. Through these poetic, almost spiritual descriptions, Serge finds and lets the reader find these brief moments of rising above it all. They're like little oases in a psychological desert. They prove that even when everything outside is brutal, the human capacity for awe, for wonder, it's still there.
It reaffirms that the spirit still seeks beauty.
Even under the worst conditions.
Now, something that struck me is how a book born from such intense political circumstances avoids just being, propaganda.
Right. It could easily have been just that.
The sources say he rejects the opportunity to present political propaganda and instead gives us an insightful and emotionally wrought tale of repression. Why do you think that choice was so important for the book's lasting impact?
That's a really perceptive question. I think it shows Serge's deep grasp of both people and literature. For someone in his position, a political prisoner, the urge to just use the book as a weapon politically must have been huge.
Just list the injustices, call for action.
Exactly. It would have been an easier path, maybe.
Yeah.
But Serge chose something harder, and ultimately, I think, more profound. By focusing on the raw, universal human experience, the suffering, the resilience, the search for meaning, he goes beyond just the politics of early 20th century France.
So it becomes timeless.
Yes. It makes Men in Prison more than just a historical document about a specific time and place. It becomes this enduring exploration of the human condition itself. It means the core message about how people endure, how they find purpose. Even when facing total repression, it can resonate with anyone, anywhere, anytime. Political views don't matter as much. It's fundamentally a human story, even though it's framed by repression.
That definitely elevates it. So given that focus, that honesty, where does Men in Prison fit in the bigger literary picture? Is it kind of its own thing, or does it stand with other greats?
Well, the critical perspective, the Foreword Reviews piece, puts it right up there. They say it deserves to sit prominently in the canon of prison novels with the likes of Alexander Solzhenitsyn and Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Wow, that's serious company. Solzhenitsyn, Dostoevsky.
It's huge praise. And it's not just because of the grim subject matter. It's credited hugely to Serge's skill as a writer. They praise its highest literary style, its way of creating this really atmospheric perspective on prison life.
So, like those other writers, he doesn't just report, he immerses you.
Precisely. Like Solzhenitsyn and Ivan Denisovich or Dostoevsky in Notes from Underground or House of the Dead, Serge puts you inside the psychological landscape of confinement. He uses language to make you feel the claustrophobia, the routines, the inner thoughts, despair, defiance, those little sparks of spirit. It's not just a record. It's lasting art about what confinement does to the soul.
And crucially, it isn't just some historical artifact gathering dust, is it? It still speaks to us now. The sources mention a really interesting modern connection.
Oh, absolutely. This is where its relevance today just hits home. The newer edition, the reissued one, is a foreword by David Gilbert.
Yeah.
He's currently incarcerated himself at Auburn Correctional Facility. And his foreword acts as this direct bridge connecting Serge's world from a century ago to prison systems right now.
How so? What connections does he draw?
Well, Gilbert points out how those arbitrary petty rules Serge wrote about the ones designed for those 1,000 daily humiliations, how similar things exist today. Policies deliberately made to isolate prisoners, to break down any sense of community or solidarity.
Still happening now.
That's what he suggests. He talks about modern disciplinary actions, often for really minor things, echoing that same depraving brutality aimed at psychological well-being that Serge saw. It highlights this tragic continuity, that many of the same psychological struggles, the subtle tortures, the fight to protect your inner self, they persist.
That makes Serge's book startlingly relevant, doesn't it? Makes you ask how much things have really changed fundamentally.
It really does. It makes his observations feel less historical and more like an ongoing commentary.
So let's try and bring these powerful threads together for you, the listener. Thinking about everything we've just unpacked from Victor Serge's Men in Prison, what does it all tell us about, well, the core of the human spirit? About resilience? About what freedom even means when everything external is taken away? It really forces you to look inward, I think.
Definitely.
So boiling it down, what does this all mean for us? Victor Serge's Men in Prison is clearly more than just history. It's that unflinching honesty, delivering these searing revelations about the battle for sanity, those unexpected flashes of beauty amidst the horror, and that incredible, almost defiant statement, I am free because nothing more can be done to me.
And what's so fascinating, I think, is how his work, though rooted in that specific time and place, just transcends it. It tackles these universal questions about purpose, about humanity, especially under extreme pressure. And if you place it in that bigger picture, yeah, it really does solidify his place alongside Solzhenitsyn and Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
Not just for what he says, but how he says it. That atmospheric perspective, the highest literary style, it's a rare and powerful look inside.
Which leaves us with a big question for you, the listener, to maybe carry with you. What does true freedom actually mean when all the external markers of it are gone? How does Serge's brutal journey and his final internal declaration of freedom, how does that resonate with your own ideas about liberty, about resilience in your own life, with your own perceived freedoms and maybe your own constraints?
It's a lot to think about.
It is. We really encourage you to reflect on these themes. And maybe, if you're intrigued, seek out Men in Prison for yourself. Really delve into Serge's unforgettable atmospheric perspective.